Well, it finally seems like we're starting to work our way out of this winter, the old-fashioned kind too. But while some of us might have been complaining about the weather over the winter, it's actually been ideal for a nice maple season, though things could still get a bit sticky in other reasons for maple producers. Let's welcome in Adam Wild from Cornell's Elin Maple Research for us. Adam, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Great to be here.
So how good, you're the expert, not me, but how good has this winter been for 2025 maple?
Anytime for maple trees, having a good cold winter with lots of snow, lots of cold weather is great for maple trees. Maple trees want that cold weather during the dormant season, so that's great. It's great to have that. Having some snow that kind of insulates the ground is actually better for the tree roots overall as well.
Are we in that period as we kind of start to get into a little bit of a warm-up? Are we kind of, are we in a good spot, I guess, to really get sap flowing, or has it been flowing already, or how's tapping been going so far?
Yeah, the sap season has started a couple weeks ago, really kicking off last week and this coming week is lots of great sap that we need that thawing temperature, so sap flows when the weather gets above freezing. But we also want freezing temperatures at night. That creates a negative pressure that allows the tree to pull up more groundwater that mixes and produces the sap. So having that freeze-thaw cycle is really important, and so that's what we're seeing now is we're having this thawing temperature that our sap is starting to flow within our maple trees across New York, both in the higher elevations, cold areas, and in the warm.
It's an incredibly delicate balance, isn't it, of riding that temperature at the perfect times to get this exactly right?
Definitely, yeah. You have to have that kind of thaw, but you need enough temperature early on to get the trees flowing that, if the ground's still frozen or if the snow's kind of up around the trees still, the sap's not going to flow. So we need a little bit of thaw for a few days to get those trees to really kind of wake up and that sap to start flowing. We also don't want to get too warm. And that's a little bit of a concern right now, that if we're getting too warm too quickly coming out of this cold winter, that could create a short maple season.
How have we been in the last few? Like if this one shapes up like it could, or it appears to be so far, is that the best in several years? Like how have we been maple seasons last few?
It really depends on where you're located because, if you're in up in the Adirondacks, it can be different than where it is in Lower Hudson Valley or Central New York, Western New York. So Central New York kind of last year was maybe a little below production where it actually got warm too quickly during the season. But then up in the Adirondacks had a really great season. And so it varies from year to year for the actual season. So I would say in general be average, and it's hard to say what this season is going to be. It's all
so the weather, though, at least at this point, seems to be cooperating nicely. How much, though, could tariffs on Canadian products hurt producers here in the United States?
There's a lot of maple production equipment that actually comes out of Quebec. There are production companies in the United States who are making great maple syrup equipment as well, but the majority is actually produced in Quebec, comes over into the United States as well. So any tariff on any of that equipment, that could really impact maple producers, their bottom line. We've already seen a lot of rise in equipment costs over the last kind of 3 to 5 years. And so adding any tariff on top of that would just increase that substantially and make it hard to be profitable as a maple producer. And that equipment that we're talking about is anything from the spouts that are used every year, or tubing, or some evaporators that are used for boiling the sap down into syrup, to even some of the bottles. So it varies from all different types of equipment. And one area that we could see where maybe the growth will not expand as much, if people are reluctant to purchase equipment at a higher cost. So we'll have to see, but it could really impact the overall cost of producing maple syrup. On the retail or kind of the sales side of maple syrup, or the value of syrup what producers get, there are some producers who are hoping that maybe they'll see a little bit of an increase in price on their maple syrup, or more than a little. That's unknown at this point. Some of that has to do with that there is a lot of maple syrup that comes out of Quebec that within the United States the U.S. doesn't produce enough maple syrup to meet the current demand of consumers. So we need that maple syrup coming across the border to supply all of our retail outlets and food manufacturers. And so a tariff put on that could increase the price of maple syrup for consumers. That might, in some ways, benefit maple producers if that price goes up in the bulk market world for them. But I don't think it'll go up as much as what some producers might be hoping.
So much to keep an eye on. Adam, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll catch up with you a little bit down the line here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.